Okay, my friends, so this video is completely optional. You can do everything in question number 5 without using Excel any more than probably using it to calculate the mean and standard deviation from the data set, which you have over here in Excel. There's your data set from Cutthroat Kitchen. So you don't actually have to use what I'm about to teach you unless you want to learn something new in Excel. So if you do, I've got this extra little tab over here. I've left it on the spreadsheet so you can look at it later if you want to. It's not part of this exam at all. I'm just using it as an example of how to do this thing called conditional formatting. So what this is it's the names and ages and party affiliation of the 118th Congress. So this is everybody that's in the House of Representatives right now in America. What I want to see is I want to see, on average, if there are exceptionally old or exceptionally young congresspeople. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the process I did over here. In case this process is a little bit weird to you, I'm going to show you how to get all these values that we need. I'm going to do it completely in Excel, and then I'm going to show you the cool conditional formatting thing at the end. So the first thing I have to do is I got to get their average age. Okay, and I'm going to do equals average, and I'm going to select all of column B, which will find me the average of all of column B. And the reason I can do that is because it ignores the label at the top there. Now let me go ahead and just round this off. I'll round it off to the nearest, 57 years of age. Beautiful. Okay, and then I got to get the standard deviation of the age. And I spelled that wrong, didn't I? I spelled both words wrong. How do you spell standard wrong, Sean? Standard deviation. There we go, beautiful. Now, in class, I taught you STDEV, which is exactly the standard deviation of the sample. We actually have the entire group. This is not a sample here. This is everybody. So you could, if you use STDEV for your standard deviation, I'm not going to be upset because it's not going to be that different from the one I'd like to use, which is actually the standard deviation of the population with a little p there at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just use that one. And you can see if I here, let me just round this off. If I change the standard deviation of the population to the standard deviation of the sample, you can see it doesn't change it hardly at all because there's so many data points, n-1 versus n is meaningless. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as standard deviation population because that quells the statistician problem in the back of my head. But I'm also going to not worry about it if you don't use that in your approach to the Cutthroat Kitchen amounts. Okay, now outlier ranges. So now we have to figure out where the outliers are, if there are any. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put too high and too low. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, if you look back to your exam, I gave you these ranges here. There you go. The range, this to this. Anything outside of that range is either too high or too low. If it's smaller than this number, it's too low, and if it's bigger than this number, it's too high. Okay, so I'm actually going to put those right here. So too high would be equal to the average plus 2 times the standard deviation. And too low would be equal to the average minus 2 times the standard deviation. All right, all right. Now, what I want to do is, one way you could do this pretty easily is just, you could sort the data and then look. And that works brilliantly. You could totally do that, and go ahead if you want to do that. What I want to do is I want to show you something called conditional formatting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the data that I want to look at. I'm going to come up here to conditional formatting, which is off the Home tab in Excel. I'm going to click on that. There's a bunch of options in here, and I'm not going to get into all of it because this could be its own class, honestly. I'm going to go to the highlight cells rule option right here. And I'm going to show you how to use both greater than and less than. I'm going to say highlight cells that are greater than, and then a little box pops up. And it wants me to flag anything, I'll put this over here, that's greater than. Now, I don't know how it picked 55.5. It automatically puts that in there. I don't want to do that. I want to flag anything greater than that number right there. So if I hit OK, it's going to flag every number in this list. It flagged the text too, which is, I don't know why it did that. It's going to flag anything bigger than 81.6. So that's our man Bill Pascrell Jr. Who else? Oh, that's Eleanor Holmes Norton. That's Grace Napolitano. That's Harold Rogers. And that's James Clyburn. I guess if you don't want to scroll, you could also then sort this data if you wanted to by sorting, descending, and then we're going to expand it. And there they are, right at the top. Now you can look at it this way. So there's Nance. Nance is 82, so she's above the average, or she's too high by this definition too. Okay, beautiful. So those are the ones that they would be considered outliers that are too high, because they are outside of 2 standard deviations on the high side. You could do the exact same thing with conditional formatting to find the low ones, if there are any. So I'm going to go highlight cells, less than, and I'm going to go less than this number, but I don't want to use the same formatting. I kind of want to use, we'll go green for just for a difference. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort them, ascending this time. And, oh, it's just Maxwell. Maxwell at the ripe old age of 25 would be considered a low outlier. So again, conditional formatting is cool. I like it. It's a really cool way to add kind of tags in spreadsheets. You don't have to use it at all for this problem, but if anybody, a couple of you have mentioned you like learning new Excel stuff, so I figured I'd make a video showing you how to do it. All right, go get them.